I can't say no to a new Ratchet and Clank game, and as expected, I liked it. Shocker. Now, it's hard for me to admit this, but I did really want to hate this game. I didn't care about the new Lombax, I didn't care about Nefarious being the same antagonist again, and I especially didn't care about the rehashing of the Find the Other Lombax's plot that we've already seen run its course. No, I played this game out of strict nostalgic obligation. With that said, despite me enjoying my time with the game, it's most certainly not the best in the series, not even close, but as Ratchet games go, it's still a dry space odyssey with fun gunplay. I admit with some glaring missteps. First off, Ratchet is still insufferably soft-spoken. It doesn't help that in the first game, he wasn't confident in his abilities, and in the second game, he is also not confident in his ability. But for a different reason, guys, I swear, this time he's out of practice.
Thinks we're washed up. Oh, what if we are washed up?
A plot point literally done better in the original trilogy.
We're still pretty busy, but in a more, domestic sense.
Yesterday, I flushed out my radiator core.
I guess no one needs a hero right now.
Now, in the case of the 2016 remake, sure, it's a rehash. Yes, it was also a movie, so they had to whitewash Ratchet a bit. But the sequel doesn't have the same charity. A quote-unquote veteran Ratchet feels almost identical, maybe even a little regressed from the first game. Then you compare her to Rivet, the other Lombax, and you slowly realize that she has more characteristics similar to the original 2000s Ratchet. So unironically, they made another character that shared more traits to the original than his remake counterpart. Look, I don't even like Rivet that much, but I think that's my point, right? She is a fallible character which you slowly get endeared to, not some booster seat whose reason for existence is to be liked. While we're on the topic of one-note characters, we need to discuss Dr. Nefarious. This character is a beaten dead horse, and I'm positive they will keep this guy around for the rest of the series. They can't help themselves. He is in every way the most unserious plot device I have ever seen, which is a shame because in the original trilogy, he was a pretty unique take on the mad scientist archetype. When he shows up in the beginning, I actually thought about putting the game down. I'm talking about 10 minutes into the game. The whole Catalyst event was so unengaging, and it's because this is Nefarious's fourth major appearance in the series. In a world as large and diverse as Ratchet and Clank, I'm glad the developers have chosen the one incompetent supervillain to monopolize the job market. And narratively speaking, it's played off like an inside joke because we get to see what a universe would be like with a competent Nefarious at its helm. Now, to be fair, the Emperor is perfect. I thought he was really interesting. He has a sleek design, the voice, the aura farming.
Who's celebrating?
You mean there?
His introduction was definitely the turning point for me, and it's when I actually began to pay a little more attention. Now, this doesn't negate my previous point. Dr. Nefarious is a pointless addition to a story that in no way needed him. His presence is almost a cancer to the great design that is his counterpart, a character we get very little real time with, being introduced at the halfway point, and then sharing the rest of his screen time with the aforementioned tumor. I genuinely do not understand the studio's infatuation with this antagonist, and I think I'm going to go over a little bit of that later, but for now, let's continue down the list of alternate versions. Another alternate version I felt brought life to the game was Kit, a character who was quite endearing and got the most screen time to develop. You can argue she was the only character we got to see have a clear, concise, and satisfying development. And in terms of design, she is similar to 2003 Clank. And it was nice to see a childish, naive version of the character again, even more childish than the remake version. It's a shame, but there is a little bit too much copy and paste going on. But hey, when charting new territory, apparently just stick with what works. It does leave a bad taste in my mouth, but not as bad as my last and most egregious point on the game. In terms of multi-dimensional stories go, this was the most unoffensive slop I have played. There has always been a trend in comics to explore what ifs, so I was expecting some more variants running around. Sadly, there are only 2 dimensions. They are mirrored, and the counterparts of each rarely interact with each other. Now hear me out. This game could have been set in 2 separate galaxies, and the machine could have just been a portal gun connecting them, and even then, you can make the argument that it would be more interesting. I think they really missed out on the opportunity to go crazy with the concept. I mean, how great would it have been if the original Ratchet had fallen from a portal, or instead of Quantum, it was an Ace Hardlight from Deadlock? And since we already got Pierre, I think nothing was really off the tables, which drives home how milquetoast the exploration of the IP was. It was just a big disappointment. I really did expect more. Reviewers, on the other hand, they loved it. They thought it was original, interesting, and pushed the envelope of the series. And I just have to clap it up because I'm impressed by the level of gawk I have witnessed in the reviews. I'll admit, since playing the PS3 trilogy, I've had this feeling that I've been slowly outgrowing the series. This isn't unique. It's obviously been a vocal majority, and said feelings have been exponentially growing as we entered the new era of Ratchet. At first I was positive, saying that as long as the gameplay was good, then he would be alright, but in a market saturated with games, I find myself wanting more, and I don't think this one did enough for me, despite what the reviewers say. So yeah, that's my review. A little more negative than I thought it was going to be, but I prefer to talk about what stood out to me, instead of going through the game with a fine-tooth comb. It is a good game, competent and fun, but it will always be compared to the originals because the originals were just that good, a problem any sequel of a timeless series faces. I think I could still recommend this game if you like Ratchet and Clank already, then yeah, it's a must-buy, right? If you like the world, you like the gameplay, it's good. But if you were on the fence, I would just give it a pass. It's not worth your time. And as much as that hurts to say, it's just the reality of the situation right now. If you like this style of review, subscribe. The channel will balance game reviews and drama videos. So if either of those are interesting to you guys, then I'm your guy. With that said, I hope you all have a good day.